Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. My name is Pete Brown from Microsoft, and we're going to talk a bit about Windows MIDI services. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce the full team here. So, Gary, why don't you introduce yourself?
Gary Daniels, Microsoft software engineer working on the Windows MIDI stack in Windows Audio.
Michael?
Hi, I'm Michael Lowe. I'm with Ominote. Ominote was contracted by AME to develop the USB MIDI driver.
Do we need to get you closer to the mic there? Get the mic to mic.
Sorry, I'll repeat that. Hi, I'm Michael Lowe. I'm with Ominote. Ominote was contracted by AME to develop the USB MIDI 2.0 driver for Windows.
Thanks, Mike. And my name is Pete Brown, and I work closely with Gary and Michael on the Windows MIDI Services project. I think between Gary and I, we have it split up a lot for SDK and tools versus service and infrastructure and stuff like that, but together we've worked in some feedback. Maybe. There you go. So, all the technical difficulties here, trying to put on a show here at NAMM. But between us, we've built the product. However, we have some people who have been heavily involved with this from the beginning. So first of all, we just want to give a thanks to AME, which is, you can think of them as the MIDI Association in Japan. So AME has been heavily involved in this, not only in working with Ominote to get the driver created, but also all the testing and getting all the feedback to us and co-developing stuff. So we definitely couldn't have done it without the involvement of AME. So thank you, AME, for your participation in this. Second, of course, thank you to Ominote, our development partners, many of whom are here today at the NAMM show. The Discord community, we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers and development partners and stuff on Discord, and they've been essential to the creation of this project. And then finally, the MIDI Association, both for giving us a chance to talk about MIDI 2.0 on Windows, but also for supporting us all the way through and making sure that we're involved in all the right working groups and all the right parts of the MIDI Association. So first of all, the inbox rollout of Windows MIDI services starts next week. So by the time you're watching this on YouTube, it's probably already started. And it's going to take about 30 days to roll out to all the supported Windows 11 devices. And that means that you're going to get all the features that we're talking about here inbox in Windows starting next week. For the initial rollout, we're focusing on stability with your existing applications. And then in the second half of February, we're going to introduce the MIDI 2.0 SDK to everybody so that applications can start lighting up with MIDI 2.0 support on Windows. So what are you going to get in the box next week? First, a completely new MIDI infrastructure. We've rewritten MIDI from the ground up, from the drivers all the way through to the service and the APIs and how we communicate with that. And your existing applications, as they are written today, will just continue to work. So all of the MIDI 2.0 devices you plug in, all the MIDI 1.0 devices you plug in, will be available to all of your existing applications starting as soon as this gets in box. And then when you want MIDI 2.0 support, when you want the full high resolution data and everything there, those applications can be updated to support MIDI 2.0 protocol, and you'll get even more features for those applications in Windows. I mentioned a new USB MIDI 2.0 driver that is shipping in box. It's faster, it's got better communication with the rest of the infrastructure that we have, and it's just a more modern implementation of MIDI on Windows. And again, thank you to Ominote for all the hard work that they've done working with the Microsoft teams to develop that driver. One of the biggest issues that we've had over the years, and one of the biggest requests we get from customers, is let me use more than one app with the same MIDI port on Windows at the same time. When this goes out next week, that comes as part of the package. So no more limitation of one app, one MIDI port. Any number of applications could talk to any number of MIDI ports in Windows, including all of your existing MIDI 1.0 devices, whether or not they required special drivers or use our inbox driver. It's all handled for you by the service and by the plumbing that we have in Windows. I mentioned it's backwards compatible. So all these devices you plug in are available to the existing MIDI 1.0 applications. when we're looking at all the MIDI 2.0 controllers we have there, if you have a MIDI 2.0 or aware app, they get the high resolution MIDI 2.0 data. If you're using, even at the same time, a MIDI 1.0 application, it gets the scaled down MIDI 1.0 compatible data from the same device. You, as a user of Windows and as a user of this application, don't need to worry about it. We handle all of that in-box for you. We also have this set up in such a way that all of your MIDI transports are equal in Windows. We've been demonstrating Network MIDI 2.0 across all these different tables in the back of the room. When Network MIDI 2.0 ships in box, it becomes just another type of MIDI device that you can use. Applications don't need to do anything special to use these new types of devices, and you as a customer don't need to do anything special to use them. Let's talk about what's in the SDK runtime and tools. The MIDI settings application is a new feature in Windows that we're shipping as part of this tools download. So now you can manage all of your MIDI settings in one place in Windows. You can customize all of your MIDI endpoints. You can rename your MIDI endpoints and your MIDI 1.0 ports. You can supply images and metadata for those. You can do all the things that folks have been asking us for a long time on that. You can also use it for sending and receiving sysx data, for doing just general management, creating loopback endpoints, doing much more. The SDK also includes support for app-to-app MIDI. So an application can create its own MIDI endpoints and be seen as a full MIDI 2.0 device on Windows without, again, the customer having to do anything. They just run the application, and that application shows up as another MIDI endpoint on Windows. We also have built-in support for loopback endpoints, which is something that you've always had to download a third-party driver for today. Now this is just built into the infrastructure in Windows. The MIDI settings application enables you to create as many of these loopback endpoints as you want. They are fully MIDI 2.0 compliant, and they also will work with your MIDI 1.0 applications. Excuse me, losing my voice here at NAMM. We also have console tools built in, so for more advanced users, we have a full set of console tools that you can use to monitor endpoints, to list endpoints, report about MIDI, send data, send test information, and whatnot. We also have full scripting support through PowerShell, so programmers can create setups using PowerShell and be able to automate different settings in MIDI, be able to set up for performance, do anything that they would like. Which I've mentioned right here. We've heard a lot about jitter and timestamps and scheduling of messages in the past. Applications using the new SDK can schedule their messages for sending. So we now support both incoming and outgoing timestamps. And if you have a timestamp message that's going out, we will schedule that to be sent at that time. Excuse me. And then finally, we have our Network MIDI 2.0 preview. We've been showing that at NAMM show for the past couple of years. That's something that we'll be shipping in the future, but it's downloadable from GitHub today, and you can just add that to your MIDI setup and be able to use Network MIDI 2.0 today. So looking forward, of course, we'll continue to work on this. We're continuing to work on any bug fixes. We're working on a production-ready version of Network MIDI 2.0. That's kind of our highest priority behind making sure we have a fully stable system. We're working as part of the working group for a Bluetooth LE MIDI 2.0. So that's something that has just recently spun up, and it's got Apple and Microsoft and other companies all involved in it, and we're all trying to make sure that a great Bluetooth MIDI 2.0 specification comes out of that. And then we're also looking at things like virtual patch bays, being able to connect any device to any other device and have routing and being able to do splits on keyboards and stuff, all as part of the MIDI infrastructure in Windows. So before we get into questions, I'd like to just show you a couple of the things in here. So for example, I mentioned the MIDI settings application. This is something that's new and available for you to download. This enables you to go through and create your loopback endpoints. It also enables you to customize the endpoints that you have here. So I could personalize an endpoint and I can change the name of it right in this application. I can give it a description and this description information is available to DAWs to be able to use through our APIs. I can also assign images to it, and all that information is also available to DAWs to be able to customize that. If you want to create loopback endpoints, it's super simple. You create a new MIDI 2.0 compatible loopback pair, you give it a name, maybe you give it a description, you create it, and then it becomes available to all of the applications in Windows. I mentioned Network MIDI 2.0. If you want to see Network MIDI 2.0 in operation, go check out some of the tables we have in the back. We have the Ominote booth has a Network MIDI 2.0 implementation, and we're sending messages to it from over here and just showing how that works. We're also able to send messages between Windows PCs. So if you want to have MIDI information go from one PC to another, you can have Cubase on one PC and FL Studio on another and have them send information back and forth. All of that is enabled through the Network MIDI 2.0 protocol. We also, I mentioned the console application. So if I go here to the console, this has a built-in MIDI monitor, so you can see any incoming messages that you want. It also has great tools for being able to send messages. So why don't I take this for a second and open up this window. I know that that's a little hard for you to see here in the room, but I'm scripting right now the command to play MIDI notes to a specific device. So I'm going to say, I am going to send that to the loopback. And so now it's just going to keep sending these MIDI notes to a specific loopback. And now I can go back to Cubase, and Cubase is listening on that loopback. I can have that record, and it's recording that MIDI 2.0 information. Now it's recording MIDI 2.0 data in this version of Cubase that I have here. This is an internal version that Steinberg has given us specifically for these demos, but it shows some of the upcoming MIDI 2.0 support. At the same time, I can open up Pocket MIDI. Pocket MIDI is a MIDI 1.0 application, and it's receiving the MIDI 1.0 version of that data at the same time. If you notice, multiple applications all listening to this data at exactly the same time, and they're each getting the data that they expect to get. So I can even monitor it here. And I'm also getting that same MIDI 2.0 data here. All right? So seamless integration across all these different applications using different APIs on Windows, all tied together from the work that we've done for Windows MIDI Services. Okay? So with that, I would like to open up the floor for questions for anybody who has that. So just throw your hands up, and you're probably going to have to scream your question. Do you have a mic to pass around for questions by chance? Or, okay, yeah, it's we have, oh, there it is right there. Sorry. Oh, okay, yeah, so just walk up to here to ask the questions. Thank you, appreciate that. And we'll do our best to try to hear you over the performances.
No problem. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, kind of.
All right, so recently I actually ran into an issue that was very specific to Windows development for MIDI, but development board that we set up basically as a virtual, or as a MIDI device, it actually did not play nice with multiple applications. So I ended up having to actually roll back from the MIDI 2.0 preview because it was the only way to actually block it from being seen by other apps. Would it be possible to potentially, with the patchway functionality, have that have the ability to wall off certain devices that are connected, so they can have more of the classic Windows functionality of only connecting to a single application for very specific development use cases?
So my guess is you were using a version of Windows that doesn't yet have the support built in for Windows MIDI services. So today.
I downloaded the entire preview.
Yes.
So yeah.
That only works on Windows Insider Canary.
Yeah.
If you're not on Windows Insider Canary, and you have installed some other separate bits that we have for WDM Mod 2 and some other stuff, there's no integration between MIDI 1.0 and MIDI 2.0 or in Windows MIDI services in that release.
Yeah.
So in the version that ships starting next week, all of that is built in together. So you won't have the initial problem that you saw. Like everything will just work there. We could talk afterwards in case there was something weird, but every case I've seen so far it was being run on a system that did not have the full install of Windows MIDI services yet. And admittedly, that rollout was somewhat confusing because the way that we had to do that there. The larger question, can we have some devices that bypass the new stack and some devices that like go straight through? Everything goes through the new stack now. There is no bypassing that. Otherwise, we would never get multi-client to work anymore. But we'll double check your specific scenario. But I know from a lot of support I've done in Discord that it's always been that version of Windows that it was running on didn't have everything installed yet.
And I guess then as a second follow-up question, and this is like, I know this is near next to impossible, but I have to shoot for the stars. Would it be possible to create maybe a virtual MIDI port that actually has that designated PID and VID, so I could actually basically set up a port that would actually be seen as a virtual hardware device? That would be incredible for testing, especially for pass-through purposes.
I've actually had a couple requests for that, for being able to spoof that we are, and actually it largely comes from the DJ world, where if they want to be able to do virtual stuff, or they want to be able to do network MIDI or something in the future with these things to move it to another place, their applications often require VidPid or the other identifying information that we have. So it's not in this first release, but it is something being considered.
Hilariously enough, you actually figured out exactly where I'm from. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions from folks in the room? Just come up to the mic. We won't make fun of you. You can come up and ask. If not, did you want? Well,
Forgot to mention open source.
I can't hear you.
Open source. You forgot to mention open source.
Oh, so yes.
So sorry. One here. Would it be possible to? Have you considered adding MIDI message throttling, like basically skip message functionality at all?
So there's an item there was an open item on GitHub to implement a MIDI message throttling plugin into the service. We have a sort of a plugin approach into our service. It's under consideration. However, so far the issues that we've run into before that required throttling, we're not hitting just yet. So we're not sure if we're going to do throttling or not for some of these older devices. The challenge that we can run into with that is if we do have throttling, it requires the customer to know a lot about that device and to know that they have to throttle it. And if they do that to the wrong device, they can end up with like a really bad experience. So it's under consideration, but it hasn't been committed. Michael, you want to say something about open source? Is that what
you didn't mention about the fact it's all open source.
Right, thanks. So all of the stuff that we've developed has been developed in the open on GitHub as open source. And then we pull it into Windows for all the work that Gary's been doing to ingest all the GitHub stuff. We do take contributions, right? So if there are folks that are looking for SDK features or service features and are inclined to contribute to our GitHub repo, we'll bring you on board. We're happy to do it. It's all permissively licensed at MIT, so there's no issue with anybody being involved in that. Thanks, that's a good call out. Gary, was there anything that you wanted to call out here?
No, I was just going to mention, so with throttling, we did add some support for throttling for WinMM clients.
Oh, yeah. Could you?
Yeah, so WinMM clients, we do throttle their messages because the legacy API, when we sped it up too much, it broke applications. So we do throttle those, so when a WinMM legacy client sends a message, we do wait until that message gets to the peripheral before we let them send the next one, just to keep them compatible with what it used to do. But that's the new MIDI 2 SDK does not do that, so it's going to go as fast as it can go.
Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up? All righty. Well, thank you everybody for coming here. I appreciate it, and thank you for the questions. And again, thank you for all the folks that have participated on GitHub or via AME or via any of the testers that we've had over the past couple of years. We wouldn't be here without your support. So thank you very much. And we're looking forward to next week, and we're looking forward to feedback and what else we can do with MIDI on Windows. So thank you.